YouTube. Trade Tuesday again. Yeah, I actually did a couple of things today. This is the lovely Milton Capri. 1 2 seconds. So I'm going to Kilsyth, which is just a couple of miles in this direction. I got a message last night. Actually, it was a guitar I saw on Ugly Guitars last week. If you've never been on Ugly Guitars, it's like it's a sort of tongue-in-cheek thing. Most of the guitars aren't ugly, I'm honest. Sometimes you get poker, like they'll post like a Telecaster that someone's put a humbucker in. Oh, ugly! Oh, I can't look at that kind of thing. This one was a sort of Van Halen type thing. I was thinking about it. It's kind of like seeing Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey when they go to heaven and everything's sort of pastel colours, but the same. It's kind of like that. So it's sort of cream and sort of light pink with this, you know, the taped off design. And then I saw it last week on Facebook Marketplace, and it's and then I got a message last night saying, do you want a guitar? It's free, save it from the bin. So it's like, yep, that is my perfect price for these things. To be honest, I was tempted to buy it on when he had it on Marketplace, but I've got lots of guitars just now that I need to offload. It's the field with the donkey in it. There it is. That's a donkey. Well, can't really see it. There's a Highland cow. Yep. Yeah. So it looks pretty good, to be honest. If you've not been on Ugly Guitars, check it out. Actually, the first time I ever looked up Ugly Guitars and went on it, just so happened that very early on that day there was a guitar that I built. I built a guitar. This is before pre-Buckmaster caster. I tried to paint one in a sort of it was glow in the dark, green and yellow. Or I'd paint it. I was going to try and do it sort of half and half green, half neon green and half neon yellow. And the green paint had been lying in the garage for a year or something like that. So when I put it on, it just started running and going all drippy and stuff. And it was like, oh, and I thought, hold on, I'll just make it do that. So I did a guitar. It was like, I think it was a Yamaha Pacifica, maybe. Was it a Yamaha Pacifica? I think it was a Yamaha Pacifica. And I put, 6 pickups in it. It was glow in the dark, had about 10 switches, and someone had put that on Ugly Guitars without my knowledge. Someone I didn't know, so I thought it was funny. Oh yeah, that's great. That's a street sweeping machine. Just let me go in front of it, so I'm not going to be stuck behind it for the next 10 minutes. Yay! Yeah, and another the actual trade part. So this isn't really a trade because I'm just going to go and pick it up. But this afternoon I'm going to East Kilbride again, and I'm swapping what I bought as the crap bass, which, let's be honest, it was the neck, which I've still not sent. It was a guy in Jess, hi, I've still not sent it. I will do it. I've got your details. I looked for a box and I couldn't find one, and then I gave up, so I'll have to make one. I'll just roll it up in some cardboard or something. He reckons he can do something with the neck. The frets were popping out. It was pretty horrible. And I was thinking, right, so you got the option of refretting it, trying to reseat the frets, or just making it a fretless bass. So I was looking into these options. I thought, just before I go any further, I think I did a video of this actually, why is there a bit of paper stuffed in where the truss rod should be? So I took the bit of paper out and then had a wee go at the truss rod. The truss rod's just sitting, the bit of paper was there to stop the truss rod rattling because it's not connected. So I just basically ripped the neck off and put on a Honor bass neck, which if you go right back to Trade Tuesday Series 1, there's a lot of things going on here. I did a swap when I got my Antoria Telly. I did a swap I was actually going to see my pal Steph in the West End of town, and he was selling me 2 bass necks. One was a sort of brand new P bass neck, and one of them was a sort of old a Honor Rockwood something bass neck. And then he said, I've got this Telecaster, and then it was like swapping, and I think I ended up giving him a hot rail pickup, and I burst two broken Boss pedals, and some money, and it got too confusing to be used for Trade Tuesday because I couldn't really work out how much I'd actually paid for it. But there you go. So these things, just having stuff sitting there, it meant that bass is no longer sitting there. So I've swapped the bass. I need to go ride with my pal for a double neck guitar, which he's tried to sell me before, and I was like, alright, another double neck guitar. The best double neck guitar is the one I built myself. It's a bass and a guitar. This one's more your traditional Jimmy Pagey type thing. So it's I think to be honest, I think it's. He did send me pictures before. I think it's either a Gibson or it's got Gibson stickers on it on the headstock. It's like a sort of twin neck SG 12 string, 6 string. He says it plays quite well. So I mean, I don't know, maybe I will like it. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Double neck guitars are a strange beast. I kind of always wanted one, but I've talked to one of my pals, or a few of my pals before. I just don't understand why anyone would ever want a double neck guitar. Just the idea of it. It's like, I love the idea of it. If you actually think about it, the practical reason for having one's not really very much, unless you're, I suppose it means you can play 12 string for a bit of a song, like what Jimmy Page does. And then I believe actually just Bernie Marsden not used one as well, and what he did was he just uses he turns on both necks, and then when you play the guitar neck, there's sympathetic vibrations coming through on the other strings, so you get a sort of reverby, echoey, chorusy thing going on. I think I've still got another village to go through, or it's going along this road. I can't really remember exactly where I'm at. This is Coolside. There's a sign saying Coolside. I'm only a couple hundred yards away. Also, there's a Home Bargains here, which is going to be a good excuse to go in and top up on food. Yeah, so this will be, chop all this stuff up together. It's not actually Tuesday today, but it will be. I think if I can aim for getting a Trade Tuesday every second week, then that's fine. If something happens. Last night I did up the Rally Les Paul. It's really good. Made you a video of that tonight actually. It's really not what I was expecting. Well, I had a Rally Flying V before that I converted to a Buckycaster, and it was quite good. Well, it was really good actually, but this one is like, it's a sort of a fancy. It's kind of like, I think it's an Epiphone, or it's an Epiphone factory. It's got the Sung Il parts on it and stuff like that, but it's like a top of the range Epiphone. It's got a lot of binding on it, and it's got like a fancy crowny thing up on the headstock, and it's like gold hardware. It's like, and it's even got big pots in it, so it's quite a high-end thing. I really need to find out more about Rally. I don't really know. You see a couple of them kicking about, but not very many. I wonder if it's just one of these things that maybe in the 90s or someone had go, I can get a guitar the same as an Epiphone and produce it and bring it out a good bit cheaper, because they're not. And then people want one that says Epiphone on the headstock. Yeah. Okay, see you later. Yeah, so I've got my Van Halen guitar. Probably shouldn't. I might have to remove that bit because I don't see where this guy lives. No, that was right outside his house then. Yeah, so a DeVille Stratocaster. It's a guy, lovely guy. I think he's a joiner, and I've actually had a few guitars off him before. He kind of does the opposite of me. He buys guitars that are kind of working, and then does them up. And he's done some crazy stuff, mad ideas. I remember how he did a Warlock that he'd done orange and black stripes, glow in the dark paint and all that. It's just messing about with it, and it's fun. So this is a Van Halen DeVille. There's too many other cars on the road just now to actually show you the body of it. It's got a Wilkinson pickup in it, but I mean, it's actually playing pretty good. It's got a locking tuner as well, just the one. So if I need to have a wee look at 5 Jackson tuners and 1 not, but I think I'll probably take the locking tuner off and put on one that looks kind of like the Jackson ones in my massive box of Never got a full set of tuners. If you've ever seen some of the bucket casters, I've got kind of like three. You know, see 3 black tuners and 3 silver tuners. Try and, you know, you buy a bucket caster, you don't necessarily get matching parts. Oh, everything will work. That's the main thing, is it looks like bucky, and the guitar plays really well and works really well, but you might find that some of the screws are gold, some of them are black, some of them are thingy. A couple of the tuners might be a different colour or a different shape, which is obviously not what you're going to. If you're buying a £1,000 guitar, you're not going to want that, but bucket casters don't cost £1,000. Yeah, so lovely Cosaith. I can't believe how close it was. I think it's maybe partly to do with this talking to the camera thing, kind of tends to make journeys very short. Like having somebody to talk to, even better than having a real person in the car. I just get to talk and nobody gets to stick in their own. You know, it's like a one-way conversation. Whereas when you've got somebody else, you have to sometimes stop and listen to what they want to say. It's like, I don't need to do that. Great, so I'm going into Home Bargains here. I'm going to see what they've got. I'm not really after anything specific. Pepper. I keep meaning to buy pepper. Pepper. It's pepper. Waterworld. Kevin Costner. Good film. One of my favourites. Famously one of the worst films ever made, I think. The biggest Hollywood flop ever. The most expensive movie of its time that never made any money. And we're at Home Bargains. I'll see you when I come out. Guy with an absolute belter of a mullet there. I don't really want. I think I recognise that guy. Not the guy with the mullet, the guy in that car. I don't think who he is though. Yeah, no, that was a proper wrestler mullet. Like, what's his face? Roddy Piper or something like that. Yeah. If I could have got him just in the background, I'm not going to take photos and not name and shame, obviously. Mullet's fair enough. You're man enough to rock a mullet, you're alright with me, man. Yeah, so, I didn't really actually, I put recording on because of that guy with the mullet. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm just going to go home, grab myself some lunch and then head out to get this other guitar. I would have done it all in a winner, but I'm pretty much have to drive past my house anyway, or it's like a mile detour to go back to my house. So I'll go back to the house, grab some tea, and then head over and see David. So I will see you in about, I don't know, half an hour, something like that, once I've had some tea. And a wee bit of a Camden, like, rocking. Hey, middle bit of the Trade Tuesday. So this morning I went, well no, it was yesterday morning, I went and picked up a guitar in Cosaith, and I was going to go in the afternoon, go and pick up, got sidetracked, ended up not doing it, so I'm doing that today. But it does mean I managed to stick a wee video in the middle. So here is the bass I'm going to swap. It's a Honor Rockwood neck. The rest of the guitar bass, it had a cheetah neck on it. Whether that was original, not really sure. It's a really cool blue burst thing, which doesn't really show up. This bit here looks really cool. It kind of goes through various shades of indigo and stuff. I really like this bit here. Pity it's not in the front. Yeah, so basically a P bass is, you can't really go far wrong with a P bass. It's the bass of, it's my favourite bass. The only reason I've got other ones is because there's no point. Well, actually 2 of my pals, Buster and Ivor, both have like more than 10 P basses, because P basses are the best basses. I've got my 2 Schecters, that's kind of it. I mean, you could argue that something like that's sort of like a P bass, but basically it is, but it's not, it doesn't look exactly like a P bass like the other ones do. Yeah, so as I said, I put a new neck on it. This is a P bass is a Telecaster pretty much, but it's a bass. Leo got it right first time, very nearly. I think the original P bass that came out in 1952 or something is pretty much this, apart from it's got a different shaped pick guard, and they hadn't yet worked out the humbucking the split pickup. So it's just got like a single coil pickup. I think that came in about 1956 or something, and then since then basically it's the same. I think the tuners we get these days operate the other way. And one of my Schecters, the tuners go backwards, and it's the same on my '68 Gibson. the tuners just, we're used to just going, right, well, that's how you tighten it, and it's like they go the other way, and it's like obviously the gear on the back is the other way around or something. So maybe that's a vintage thing, but they haven't changed much in it, is my point really. So I'm just going to do a wee quick demo of this and the guitar I picked up. So I'll stick a wee bass line down. Just got a volume and a tone, kind of all you need really. Then you turn the tone right down for. Somewhere in the middle maybe. Play an E to make it easier. So that's the bass half. So pretty good. Basically all you need to do to make a crap bass into a good bass is put a new neck on it. Not really much you can get wrong with the body and stuff like that. Plays pretty well. So this is the guitar I picked up. Let me just slip over it. Wow, that's buzzing because the cable's just lying on the ground. Could find another strap there, so they're both running the same strap. This guitar I actually saw on Ugly Guitars a couple of weeks ago, and then I saw it on Facebook Marketplace. It's my pal in Kilsyth who's got an awkward name, which I slagged off before one time. Well, I wasn't slagging him off. Had a laugh at when I was driving past his house in one of the Trade Tuesday videos, and then he commented that night going, "Oh, you taking the piss out of my name?" I was like, "Oops, didn't realise he watched the videos." So, alright, Tob Tob, his name just now is Toblerone. So he's made himself a Van Halen-Esque Strat. I like to think of, as soon as I saw this, I immediately thought of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, when they go to heaven and they're kind of, all the clothes they're wearing are all the same, but they're all kind of pastel colours instead of being like strong colours, and it's kind of, yep, this is the guitar Van Halen would take if he was in heaven in that scene where it's like when they're there with death and stuff like that. But it's so it's a DeVille neck. I think the guitar might be all DeVille. These things are just for show to make it look like Van Halen's, and the stripes, actually, it's pretty well done. I've got a feeling that he's actually looked at a picture of the Van Halen one, because these two wee bits here kind of don't look in the tapey bit, but I think that might actually be on the, like, Eddie Van Halen's actual guitar. Scratch plate, cut up, volume control. This is a Wilkinson Humbucker. It's actually, the neck on it's really nice. It's kind of glossy. It's got 5 Jackson tuners and a locking tuner. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this, but it's like, see, before you even plug it in, it's like a really resonant, good sounding guitar. I wonder if something to do with, I mean, it sounds silly, I don't know how, you know, it's like you're talking about your tone wood. Does the fact it's got these holes in the front kind of make it more, make the sound come out more rather than it being dampened by a scratch plate? I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say. I think it's quite ridiculous, but not really any more ridiculous than quite a lot of the other things people say about tone woods and stuff like that. Oh, we're on distortion then, so getting a bit of a crackle through that pedal there. So it's only got a volume control, there's no other controls. And this is a dummy pickup, and the switch is kind of just in there. I always thought Van Halen's one, it was so you could operate the switch with your finger, you know, if you really wanted to do something, but apparently it's just a dummy as well. It's just basically so it wasn't sitting empty. Obviously this guitar is meant to have distortion on it, so US Dream. These are quite heavy strings. Actually, a blues jam can be quite a lot of fun. It's amazing how every time I do a blues jam, it's normally once every 6 months or something like that. It's like I can remember an awful lot more bits from, like, you know, Clapton and stuff like that, and go, oh, there's a lot of these things that, although I think they were pretty hot and exciting in the 60s, they're actually pretty easy to play. You know, you're sort of... Yeah, so I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. It was at a price I could not refuse, my favourite price for a guitar, and it's like, it's actually a functioning guitar, and I've literally done absolutely nothing to it, even down to the point of I didn't even tune it. It seemed alright, and then I had to tune it there. Yeah, so I mean, I like it. I know it's Van Halen thing to have this, have these gaps, but I totally want to put a scratch plate on it. I think just, maybe not a white scratch plate, maybe a cream scratch plate or something. I think that's really all I'm going to do to it. And then it'll be a Trade Tuesday number. If anyone's a Van Halen fan, the neck on this is absolutely fantastic. I kind of remember DeVille guitars kicking about when I started playing the guitar. Don't know anything about them at all. I'd imagine it's just the same as all your other companies. You know, it's some import company that just buys guitars from Korea or China or something like that, and then gets their own badge put on it. But the neck is really good. The body is plywood, you can sort of see it in there, but it's tone plywood, not just any old plywood. It's a good weight, and I really like the colour. Oh, it's put... didn't even notice that. Yeah, so this colour scheme is apparently just done with Sharpies. He said all he did was colour it in and then give it a wipe before it properly dried, and it ended up looking like this. And I mean, I think that's... I like it. Kind of, maybe I should be playing in the land of grey and pink on it. It's got a sort of, okay, it's not really grey, but, you know, it's like, I don't know. I think the thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to hang it on the wall there or something, so I can sort of see it out the corner of my eye, and then just keep looking at it. I mean, technically it doesn't really need anything. I might see if I can find a tuner that looks a bit more like the Jackson one, rather than having the one locking tuner on it. But, in fact, if you're going to put the locking tuner, that should be on the G. Is it the G that always... is always the problematic string? So I don't know. So I'm off to East Kilbride to do a bit of a swap. So this might be quite a long video on Tuesday. It's not Tuesday, it's Saturday. Rocking. See you soon. Hey! So back in the car. Went a different route this time. I just decided to blindly follow the sat nav rather than deciding I know better. Just because I've been to East Kilbride quite a few times. The last few times I've been out in the cars, I thought, well. The problem with being where I am is there seems to be so many different routes to get between two places. You know, it's like, there's not really a right way. And I suppose the sat-nav reckons this was the quickest way. It might be more miles though. Because that's me just passing Gartcosh, and I would normally join on the motorway at Gartcosh, and it's like, sounds a little bit like one of the aliens in Babylon 5. Maybe too geeky for most of you. But Babylon 5 was good. Better than, I don't even know if you can get it on, I've not seen it on Netflix or anything like that, otherwise I would have watched it. I did at one point buy the DVD box set for a very good price. I think it was 20 quid. And I realised that the reason for that was one of the discs was duplicated. Not that that really matters, I think it was some sort of misprint. I gave it to my wee brother actually, never got it back. Watch Babylon 5, but the first series, I think they hadn't quite nailed everything yet, so it's a bit, some of the CGI battle sequences are very, very computer gamey, like, kind of like a PlayStation or something. Like, it totally looks like, it's not like, when I'm watching Star Trek Enterprise just now, and some of the, you know, the special effects are pretty CGI, but Babylon 5 was much, much more a total computer game from the late 90s, the mid 90s, whenever it was about. Yeah, so off to East Kilbride, see my pal David. So because I'm going to film him, he said he was going to, the plan was he was going to hang about in the eaves of his house dressed as Batman, so when I turn into the street, so I'm interested to see if he is sitting on the window ledge dressed as Batman. I think he was only joking though. Would be totally awesome if he was though. It probably makes an interesting video. I'd imagine probably the two of us will probably be laughing for about 10 minutes, if that was the case. So he's getting the bass, and I'm giving him a t-shirt as well. Unfortunately, the t-shirt would have been a much nicer surprise if he had said any chance of getting a t-shirt. It's like, damn it, I was going to give him one anyway. So that should be fun. And a double neck guitar. It's like, the only double neck guitar I've had before that I didn't build myself was a really badly made kit. If you ever want to see a video of me not liking the guitar and pretending to say it's alright, watch the video for that. I think I sold it for 100 quid on eBay. It did say Gibson and stuff on it, but it's just, there's so much more to a kit than, you know, just bolting the bits together. There is still some guitar makery involved. I think I did do quite a lot of work on it, trying to make it alright. Apparently this one, which I think might also be a kit, not really sure, but apparently it's done really well. I'm sure actually David said to me before that it had good hardware on it. The guy who'd bought it off had upgraded bits, so, you know, it's possible it's got, like, I don't know, Warman pickups or Wilkinson or something like that, because that's the sort of the sensible upgrades. I wouldn't be expecting Gibson and Seymour Duncan, but, you know, it's like, well, that Wilkinson pickup that's in that Van Halen type Strat is really good. There's something funny with the intonation in that guitar. It looks wrong, which annoyed me, and then I checked it and it was fine, and it's just kind of like, how can it look wrong but be alright? I did say that it had funny strings on it, didn't I? That could be it. I wonder if maybe the strings are like some sort of mad hybrid set. I didn't really notice it until I started trying to bend strings. I wonder if it's got, like, you know, top heavy light bottom or fancy strings on it. That could explain it. The guy who I bought it off, the guy in Kilsyth, was talking about rid of all of his guitars. Apparently he had a BC Rich Bitch masterpiece, which I remember seeing adverts for, and it was like a carved top BC Rich Bitch. I thought that looked rather good. He didn't like it because it was a bit boring, so he said he painted it neon green and he'd done some butchery to it. And his Appia then decided he didn't like it, sold it for 40 quid. I'm really annoyed I missed that. I totally bought that for 40 quid and unpainted it green. Not that I need a BC Rich Bitch, I've got one. I've got an 80s one, NJ series, Nagoya, Japan, which is it's called a skinny bitch sometimes in forums, because the original Japanese BC Rich copies weren't strictly super accurate to the original, the American BC Riches. They were they took slight liberties with the shape, and it's a bit thinner basically overall. Still, it looks, you can still tell what it is, but it just kind of looks a bit skinnier basically. I think my favourite thing about that guitar is the headstock. It's got like not an unfendery headstock, apart from it's massive and a bit spiky. I wonder if I should maybe use that in Cracking House. I used it a couple of times in a rehearsal. I remember there was a bit where we were playing Kiss Lick It Up. This is before we were doing original stuff. Kiss Lick It Up's a really hard song to play because it's dead hard to know where you are, because it just kind of does the same thing all the way through it. So it's like just kept constantly getting lost. Kind of da-na-na, da-na-na. Right, how many times am I doing this? I don't know. It's like I've got a wee bit of that to do. We're doing this gig. We've got a special guest star, which is a drummer's sparring. I was going to say sparring partner. His pal who does weights. What do you call that? Goes to the gym with. His daughter has got actually there's an Epiphone Zakk Wylde guitar. She wants to come up with us and play a song. We're going to play Enter Sandman. So I'm going to have to try and learn how to play Enter Sandman. Enter Sandman's a good song. I do like it, but it's not really one I've listened to intentionally. I'm pretty sure I don't have it on record. I don't think I've got it on CD, so I might have to, I'll be YouTubing it and then trying to learn how to play a song, which I'm sure, I don't think it's hard. I can play along with the tune, but I've got a funny feeling I'm on the wrong line here. I think it'll come out anyway. Yeah, so what I've just been practicing with a backing track, and I really want to get a hold of that backing track to find out what it is I'm expected to play during it. I'm going to play lead apparently, and it's like, right, so I need to learn how to play whatever it is that's on the backing track. Should be fun anyway. We're in rehearsal next Thursday. I think I might take my Arbiter Flying V in, see how that goes on, because my Arbiter Flying V is the same guitar as James Hetfield's white Gibson Flying V. His was branded Electra though, because it was American, whereas we had Arbiter's a shop in London. So our one was we got like an Arbiter branded one, basically just a truss rod cover. I don't think it doesn't say anything else on it, so you just buy a Gibson truss rod cover for it if I really wanted to. I quite like it being Arbiter though. It's an old Japanese guitar, so that'd be quite authentic for a Metallica, I think. But I just need to look into. I wonder if I'll have to play a Kirk Hammett solo. I've got my new Morley wah-wah pedal. I might totally overuse that for a laugh. Genius is famous for overusing the wah-wah pedal. I really need to learn to use the wah-wah pedal. There's so much more to it. Guy, Brian, the singer, Ozzy Osbourne, in our Black Sabbath band, is then talking about NIB, because I normally do an NIB intro on the bass, which is just basically just fanning about, and then as long as I make the last bit sound a bit like the intro, then everyone knows where I am. I could just sit and go wah, 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 wah for 5 minutes if I really wanted to. But actually the riff's got a wah wah in it, and it's like it does, but you can't just go wah 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 wah. It's a bit more subtle, so I need to actually sit down and actually learn how to do that. Kind of not using the wah wah fully. You know, you don't give it the pure wah. It's kind of like wah 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 wah. So it's like a sort of small amount of wah wah wahing. Should be fun. I think I'm in the wrong lane. I'm in the wrong lane. Think I'm in the wrong lane. I need to get into the left lane, which is also the right lane. No, maybe not. Rocky Ho. So that's me just coming off at the Holiday Inn, which was the first job I ever did with my dad. I was doing a snagging list, going about cutting bits of blobs of glue off light fittings with a Stanley knife and a bucket to put all the bits of glue that had stuck off on it. No, that was fun. I can't even remember which car I had at the time. I had a white Ford Orion. They must have not been good cars. You don't see any of them anywhere. I was actually thinking about this the other night. I'm totally going off at a tangent here, but you don't see old cars anymore. I think there was some sort of scheme about 10 years ago where you got like a minimum of £2,000 trade-in for your old car because the government wanted everyone to get rid of old cars. So really, there's none. You just don't get old cars anymore. They were always a bit ropey here anyway because of the rain. And obviously because of the winters where you get salt on the road, so they did rot away. I mean, you often see it in America, you see obviously I've not been to America, but you know, people still have old 60s, 70s Mustangs running and stuff like that, but that's because they lived in, you know, Arizona and stuff where it's dry and hot, so the rust was just like surface rust, whereas here, you know, no car like that would ever survive. It would just rot away to absolutely nothing. So there are certain advantages to living in America. Being able to drive a much older car is one of them. Also a much bigger car. So you see it, I was watching Scrubs. This is a while ago, I always remember it was the girl in it was like wanted a new car, the Hispanic girl, and was like, you know, one of those like cute minis, the British Mini, and it's like, alright, it's so cute and tiny, and it's like a Mini, like the ones you get now, is twice the size of this car. Not an original Mini. Original Minis are really small, but the one that they kind of brought out, I don't know, 10, probably 20 years ago, is not small. Well, compared to what we class as small cars, us Europeans with our tiny little cars. Although I'm not complaining about this car, I really like the Mighty Panda. Is perfectly good for me. I like it. Give me high fuel consumption and low tax, and I'm happy. £30 a year tax on this. Yeah. I think you even get cars that get less tax than that, but I don't mind paying £30 a year. It's like £250 for a normal car. A normal car doesn't get 65 miles to the gallon. Yeah, so that's me just coming out to. I'll turn the camera back on when I get close. I think I should be able to find this house without actually getting lost this time. Last time I got lost. lost really just means taking one wrong turn and, you know, going 500 yards out the way, doing a 3-point turn and coming back, but not proper lost. Rocking, see you soon. So without really needing the sat nav, well, saying that I found the turn off, I'm assuming I'm going to recognise it when I walk this hill. So, go on David, I gave you a warning, I hope you're going to be sitting there. I'm expecting you to be hanging off the eaves of your house dressed as Batman, and if you're not, then you don't get a free t-shirt. It's not looking... Oh, there was the wrong turn. I was too busy talking and not enough concentrating. I could have used the street signs, I guess. Let's see where it is I was going. It's always nice when streets actually have names on them and numbers. Now he's on the left here, I seem to remember. It's looking kind of familiar. Looking familiar. Let's see what number did he say was. Oh, it's got an SNP thing on it, and I'm on the block driveway. I think that's him. He wasn't dressed as Batman. Disappointed in you, David. Not really. To be honest, I think he was on the bucky when I was talking to him, and so was I. It seemed really funny at the time. Yeah, I thought I was there for half an hour just talking to him in the street. I didn't bother filming it. So, yeah, so double neck, and it actually plays really good. I was thinking, because I had that kit before that I thought was pretty rubbish, this is a kit that's been built well, I think. I need to have a proper look at it. I wish it didn't say Gibson on the headstock. That's probably quite easy to just basically, I think it's just stickers. I might be able to just peel it off, so it just says nothing. It should be fine. And he's told me where to get a shop, because I quite fancy a packet of crisps, or maybe. I wonder if there's a McDonald's or something. I don't want McDonald's. I'm never going to Burger King again. What time is it? Is it lunchtime? Is it a chip shop that's open at lunchtime, perhaps? Maybe get a Chinese, actually. I haven't had a Chinese years. Since I was in China, and I've had one, I think. Yeah, so double neck. I suppose I've got to play Stairway, or maybe try and play something. What else can I play that's got a double neck? Hotel California, maybe. Something pure obvious to be playing on a double neck to try and work in the fact that I've got a 12 stringer. See, that's kind of. Is the 12 stringer the obvious thing I've got to do with the triple neck Flying M? A 12 stringer, a bass, and a guitar. That way to do it. This shop is much further away than I was told. Is it just turn right, quick fit, keep following the road, you'll get there? It's like, that was like hundreds of meters away. I assume there'll be a shop just coming up right up here. So, rocking, I'll see you when I get back. Cheers. Got a queue in there. Notice this Soul Magnum. My pal who was talking about there's another type of Jamaican tonic wine which is even more stronger. I had to look for that, didn't see it though. Yeah. So I got quite good. I'm recently drawn to the bargain stuff that's got a date today. So I got a couple of big stacks, which are like a sort of, looks like a microwavable Big Mac. There's actually a guy that reviews these things. I wonder if maybe I should. Could I do a wee a food review of microwave burgers? A snack store big stack, which doesn't look like it does on the picture. You've got to supply your own lettuce. Maybe I should buy a lettuce on the way home in Lidl. Possibly. Yep. So, Rockstar, I think Rockstar's ending. They only had two cans left in there, and nowhere else I know sells it. The last couple of times I've bought Rockstar, it's been the last of what they had. because apparently it's no longer owned by Bar, it's been bought by Pepsi, and there's some sort of licensing agreement that a lot of the shops that sold Bar and Coca-Cola things don't, you know, part of their deal about getting is to not sell Pepsi products. So that's a bit annoying. I think Tesco still does them both. Rocket. Catch you later. Hey, Trade Tuesday. This video's gone on for about 4 days, so this is the final part of it, hopefully, and this is what I ended up trading the bass for. A double neck, so not actually a Gibson, but I don't mind this one. I had one before that was like a Gibson, and it had like the serial number in the back, and you know, like the mother of pearl inlay. This is just clearly a sticker, so it doesn't bother me. I'm quite happy with that. So it's like, oh, you can say it's a Gibson, but no one's ever going to buy it as a Gibson. You can't. You're not going to fool somebody because it's like you can see that it's just literally a gold sticker. That's fine. So yes, this I think is a kit guitar, the boat on neck one. It's kind of hand painted. They've actually done quite a good job on the necks. It's kind of like, it looks a wee bit like, you know, the Gibson thin skin finish. It's kind of like that, so it's kind of like an ebony stain I think he's used. The body's a little bit patchy, not as well done as the necks. It's the fingerboards are really sort of sandy and light looking rosewood, so I think it's going to be getting a lemon oiling or a fretboard conditioning. But it actually plays really good. My pal was trying to offload this onto me a few months ago, and I was like, no, I've had a kit one of these before, and I didn't like it at all. It was awful. This one's been built by somebody who's spent the time on making it work, as opposed to spending the time on painting, which you get with a lot of kit guitars. Somebody who's like, I fancy building a guitar. You ever built anything before? Never. So they spend months and months and months painting the body, you know, getting it like, you know, like a pure pro finish, and then they stick the neck on at the stupid angle, bridge in the wrong place, and all these things. It's like, it's not quite Lego. I think maybe, I've said this before, maybe I think if you bought like a Warmouth kit for 500 quid, maybe it just bolts together relatively easily. But these things, you know, there is an art to lutherie of sticking things together. It's not, you know, not just carving up the body and the necks, and you know, there's a bit more to it. The frets have been done on it as well. The frets are actually really good, and it plays really well. Sounds better if you turn on the neck that's on. Finding this switch a little bit annoying. It tends to, it's, you just have to get used to sort of strumming it here rather than strumming it there. It's quite easy to change the pickup by accident when it's there. This one has got the other advanced switch, the great switch, which I've actually fitted to a couple of these. They're not normally on them. This is the switch that changes it from the 12 stringer neck to the 6 stringer neck. Without that, it's a nightmare. Or you can have both necks on at the same time. Often you've got, oh, you want to change between the 12 and the 6, you just turn the volume down on one and turn the volume up on the other, and it's like, that's not great for when it's pure 12 string, 12 string, 12 string solo. It's like, that'd be 12 string, 12 strings, 12 string, hold on, solo. Yeah, so I've hit it again. Yeah, so I'll probably I'll just play Stairway to Heaven, won't I? I'll just be up here winging it, because I don't know if I could ever play the whole song, but I'll kind of work my way through and do a wee demo jam version of it. The issues with these things, which is basically why I bought that, it's got neck dive like nothing else. It's really difficult to play because of that. I mean, you can see I'm kind of having to put a hell of a lot of pressure on this just to hold it level. So it's like, I'm going to have a serious look at moving the strap buttons about and see if there's some way of making it sit, you know, like that. The strap button just now is there, so I'm thinking, see if I put the strap button there, and then I maybe move this one here so that it literally hangs like that. It'd make a huge difference. That's what I've done with the double neck there. It does mean that for example on that bass, you can't really get above the 12th fret before you hit the strap, because the strap's there. But it's a 12 string guitar, and I don't think you're really going to be playing it up here. It does actually play up here though. But as I said, I mean, even just playing, I've only been playing about 4 minutes. I've been holding this, and I'm already very aware that I'm holding this neck up all the time. So you're playing the 12 stringer, and because you've got two necks that are sitting at different heights, this is maybe your normal one, so you probably get away with that. That's the comfortable one. You've got this one a wee bit higher, so you're kind of just a little bit, and you're just constantly having to hold this neck up. So I'm going to have to do something about that. This one also at some point has had, see, it's got these hook type tailpiece on it rather than the tune-o-matic or the stop tail you would normally get. Actually, you can see there's holes plugged. So I think at some point when this was new, it did have like a tune-o-matic one, which is a nightmare because you're trying to they only give you a 6 hole thing, so you're trying to put the 2 strings through one hole in the back of the stop tail, and it's just a nightmare. The hook thing much easier, and I'm just so pleased this works. I think whoever built this spent quite a lot, maybe didn't spend that much time doing the painting and stuff like that, but they did spend time making the necks play, which is really good. The pickups were also at strange heights, so I don't know if they knew whether they'd been changed or not. So what am I going to do with this? Well, actually, I totally wasn't expecting it to be good, because it's my pal David, we wanted to swap it for a bass, but that blue bass, and I kind of assumed this was just going to be an absolute dog. It's not. It's actually pretty good. I'm tempted. I don't know whether I'll do this or not. I'm tempted to make it into a Bucky one, because it's a Bucky 12. That's going to be super comedy value. It's a bolt-on neck, so just basically paint the body green, paint the bits of scratch plate yellow, and maybe put red pickup rings on. I was looking up red pickups, and it's like the pickups in this actually sound pretty good. I think I might put in, I've got a switch I got it from my pal John. I bought a Yamaha SG off him, and he's got like a special switch, which instead of having the 6 terminals on it, so it's like a double pole double throw switch. He was using it for doing something else, but it wasn't connected up in that SG, so I took it out thinking that's a great switch, I'll use that for something. It's like a 4-pole 4-throw switch. 4-pole 4-throw switch can just coil split this whole thing in a oneer. So there might be a switch here that's just all 4 pickups single coils, all 4 pickups humbuckers. I quite like that, so I might do that. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is mess about with getting where I'm going to put the Strat buttons to make it hang much more comfortably. Then I might keep it. It's just as it is. I mean, first time I had a shot, I was like, this is great, I'm keeping this, but it's just it's so ridiculously neck heavy to the point of stupidity. And even that's me pushing down really hard with the right hand so I can take my hand off it. As soon as you take it away, it just spins like one of those comedy flamenco guitars that they use in the Three Amigos. It's just horrible. Maybe if I put the Strat there. It's all to do with centres of gravity and stuff. It can be done, but that's what I was saying, why that's the best double neck anyone's ever made that I made, because of the way it's offset, it just sits level, and even though it weighs a ton, it doesn't feel that heavy because it's balanced, whereas this probably weighs less than that, but it feels like it weighs 5 times as much just because you're constantly fighting with it. So I suppose I'll just wait. I've not practiced this. I'll just wait. I gave Civet a little rendition so I can kind of remember some of the bits, and then oh. There's a lady who knows all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows the stores are all closed. With a word, she can't get what she came for. Two paths long run. There's still time to change the road you're on. If there's a siren, well, you're right, but if you don't know, then it lies on the whispering ring. She's buying a stairway. As we wind on down the road, shadows tighter than our soul. Walks a lady we all know, shines white light and wants to show. Everything still turns to stone if you listen very hard. Not to roll. yeah, so I think I missed out about 3/4 or 7/8 of Stairway to Heaven there. But this actually plays pretty good. Again, it really is a fight. I know I've mentioned it about 40 times so far. It really is a fight holding this thing vertically, which I don't think, to be honest, even on the, I don't know how many thousands of pounds the Gibson one cost, it's probably the same sort of thing. It's got like a mahogany body and mahogany necks. Okay, it's bolt on and it's not as expensive or as well built, but the dimensions are the same, so they must have this sort of thing. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe if you have it slung really low or you stand with your legs far apart or something might help it. So yeah, so that was Trade Tuesday. It was a bit of a long video tonight, today. I don't know how long it's going to be. I've still got to stitch all the bits together. A couple of car journeys. Had a wee jam with the bass. I picked up that guitar as well. And this, I should really be using this opportunity to try and flog something. So there's a Squire 51. Someone wants to swap for something. Going rate on them is like 200, 250, something like that. So something maybe fancy it. It's a fantastic guitar. It does have a bit of a... The only thing, it's pretty much mint apart from it's got a bit of a bash in the bottom. There. If I can get the angle right. So it's been dropped at some point, but apart from that, it's pretty much mint. That landed right on my big toe. Right, so definitely something to be done with that. So this, fantastic. It's quite a rare one. This is one of the early ones. This is a 2005 Court one. They're apparently more desirable than when they reissued them. They made them for a few years, and according to Wikipedia, they've normally got a one-piece neck. It's really rare to get one with a separate fingerboard. This has got a separate fingerboard, but it's actually got, if I can get the angle right, this, which I originally thought is dirt, it's actually got quite a lot of maple, bird's eye maple going on the fingerboard, which is rather nice, and it plays fantastic. So you get like this is not a tone control. This is a three-way rotary. So you've got humbucker, both single coil in the neck, and the volume control pops up, which turns this into a single coil. So you get humbucker and single coil, two single coils, neck. So that's 5 sounds out it. So, and it's really nice. And also on my tradie thing, I've still got a few. Should probably go through them. I should probably pause this and go and get some more. What about a Raleigh Les Paul? I did a video of this the other day. This is really good. I had my pal play. What do you think of this? It's really good. It's set neck Les Paul, really good condition. Really rocking. A little bit fancier than your Epiphone ones, but basically the same sort of idea. And I don't like Les Pauls, but I could totally play this. It's absolutely no problem with gigging. If you're a Les Paul fan, get something a little bit different. I think an Epiphone one like this, basically, is it the Black Beauty it's called? I think they're probably worth quite a lot of money, especially for, I would rate this alongside the earlier on, possibly a Samick. In fact, was it this guitar somebody was talking about in the comments for this video, saying where they came from? I don't think it was this one. I think it was the Encore video. Actually, someone was talking about. Yeah, so I would rate this alongside the desirable 90s Epiphones rather than the more modern ones. And so up for trade value, I don't know. Give me something really interesting. I always tend to say it's like something 80s and Japanese would be fantastic, but then I'll keep it. So basically something that I can either do a wee bit of work to, or I can just trade up and something that's a bit more saleable. That's that one. This, I've not decided what I'm going to do with it yet. I don't know. I've had guitars off this guy before. You've obviously seen this earlier on in the video. It's done a really good job of it, and it's kind of tempting to try and basically find out if I can take off this and make it cream again and just turn it. I feel like what I'm doing there is I'm kind of unconverting it, putting it back to normal. The neck on it's fantastic. It's got a really, really nice Strat headstock, or head shape and everything. It kind of reminds me of a Charvel or something, but I think that might just be because of the colour of the logo and the colour of the machine heads. So I'm going to have a wee poke about and think about this. As it is, it actually sounds really good. I don't know if anyone really fancies it. I suppose I'll do a pause and see if I'll probably get some other stuff that I could come up for trading. So I'll pause it just now and I'll come back with some more from through next door. Hold on, I need to turn on the battery's just not good in this thing. I've got to turn it off and turn it on again. Oh, or turn it on to start with. Right, so pause. Continuing on, so I've still got the mini Strat, which I kind of, if you want a travel guitar, this thing's fantastic. It's got the coil adder, fancy switch in it. Done videos of this before. It's great. Summer's coming up. Fantastic camping guitar, but it's actually like a really high quality guitar. One for a kid that's actually like a short, slightly short scale. It's not pure super short. The actual body's quite small, but it's like 24 inch, I think, scale. So it's slightly shorter than a Gibson. So it means it takes normal tuning with normal strings. Plays really well, probably good for someone with slightly smaller hands, but it's actually a quality guitar, unlike most of the guitars you get that are kind of this size, which are basically rubbish. I've stopped buying them. I did a couple of Buckycasters that were like that with the short size ones, and it was so much work to make them play okay, and even then they only played okay, whereas this already played okay and now plays really good. That I've got, this is the Iron Brew, oh it's quite a heavy one. This is the Encore Indian, basically it's a Sun Mustang copy, Iron Brew Van Halen. I seem to have quite a lot of Van Halen guitars. This is my attempt at the Van Halen. This is brilliant, and I was going to keep it, thinking I should always keep an Iron Brew caster. I was going to gig it, and the reason I'm not is because I made the mistake of making it a Van Halen painted one. I should just have painted it blue, and then it would be totally cool. But the thing is, if you turn up at a gig and you're playing this, people are going to expect, which I can't do. So it's kind of, I feel like a bit of a fraud having it. This has got a coil adder in it as well, but it's a different switching system. So this is basically gives you, I think it runs, I can't remember, I think it makes it into a humbucker on one way. The switch in the middle is just a Strat with a high pass filter on it, and a master tone control. If you pull it back the way, it turns that into a humbucker, and if you push it forwards, it turns that into a humbucker and adds in the neck pickup or something like that. I need to watch the video, or I could explain it to you. So these are all up for trades for something more interesting. I don't think you can get much more interesting than this. If you're a Van Halen and an Iron Brew fan, this is a top-notch guitar. It really is fantastic quality. The downside is it's a slightly different size. It's full scale, but the strings are, it's only like 2 or 4 millimeters closer together here, so this neck doesn't fit on any other body, which means the pickups are a slightly different size. They're sort of shorter and fatter. These are the original steel backs. And then I've got the orange pickups, the one I added, which gives you all the humbucker sounds. It's got brass saddles, which I've had for years, but could never find a guitar they fitted on, because it's a shorter, I think it's a 50mm string spacing instead of 54 or 52. I think Yamaha Pacificas might be like that as well. So that's that one. I've still got the the Hello Kitty with the light up eyeballs. Up for trades. I've actually, thinking about it, the neck on this is just basically a standard Squire Affinity neck, and I've actually got a Squire Affinity through there. So I might rob the neck for that and put it in this. I mean, I've got this on eBay. This has got like a built-in, not only do the eyes light up, which is awesome, but it's got a built-in distortion pedal. So you've got like four different distortion modes, and then a gain for the distortion, which I actually hardwired into it in the volume control, and a kill switch. So it's like a turbo up one. It's also got an Entwistle X3 super powerful pickup in it. The headstock was already badly shaped, so I kind of made it look a bit like a Telecaster, but this is the original neck, whereas if I put the Squire Affinity Strat neck on it, I think it's got a rosewood fingerboard, it would maybe be a bit more desirable. Don't know, up for swaps for something interesting though. And then, I'm saying finally, but there's actually more than this, the Jedson Telecaster type thing, which is great fun. It's small, it's very white stripesy type thing. It already had badly cut out holes for humbuckers but no pickups. I put vintage from a vintage SG, from the Tony Iommi SG, pickups in it. I replaced one of the switches with a 3-way toggle switch that was missing. The other switch coil splits both of these, which gives you kind of more what this guitar would have sounded like with its original pickups. It would originally have had 2 single coils in it. This is an amazing colour. It's really light and small, and it's fun. Did a video of this last week as well. So I think, is that me enough? Is that me enough hawking my wares? I think to be honest, I think there might be another couple of guitars kicking about. These are the ones that are all ready. And the ones that, if I didn't have so many damn guitars, I would sell them. So I mean, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 guitars for Trade Tuesday. If anyone's interested in trading for something or has something I might want. Especially things where I could swap it for something that's worth more money if the electrics work, because the electrics don't work, because electrics is my thing. I'm good at doing the electric parts. The rest of it I might be able to fix. I'm not very good. I don't know how you sort, bad frets and stuff I can do. Obviously tuners and all that stuff's alright, but the electrics is really what I like best. So happy Trade Tuesday. I don't know whether Trade Tuesday will be on next week. I did DIY Tuesday. Should I just go and get it just now? Do I have enough room? No, I've finished my DIY Tuesday case that folds in, flight case that folds into a guitar stand thing, and it looks pretty pro. My pal was round yesterday, and I showed him I'm making parts for his motorbike, and I showed him, you see my new toy? I showed him it. I opened it up, and he's like a really sarcastic person. He goes, "Bit shit in it," to everything. It's like, here's a £1,000 guitar. Yeah. He's like that, and I showed him this thing, I assembled it up, put it up, and he was kind of like, he put a wee bit of checker plate on the side. I could do that, yeah. And maybe I wouldn't use proper rubber. Don't use that yellow stuff. And then patent it. But I took that as quite a high praise indeed. So it kind of doesn't look like I made it anymore. It does look a wee bit like I made it, but it looks kind of pro. So I was going to go and get it just now, but this video is already super long. I'll make a point of using it at some point. The problem with it is it's dead easy to set up on the floor, but the camera's up there. So last time I was trying to sort of show it, had it sitting on a stool, so having to build it while opening the lid and then holding the lid and then having to do the whole thing with one hand made it look really awkward. Whereas if it's actually just sitting on the floor, it's a pure haha, dunk, 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 done. Rock on. Catch you next week, tomorrow, whenever.